Bonjour à tous. Welcome for this event dedicated to career development. My name is Bérénice Quimp, and on behalf of Association Bernard Gregory, the French-German University, the French-Italian University, and the European Commission, it's a pleasure to welcome you for this new edition on mobility and career development of researchers. So this event has been designed really for you. I really insist on that because when you prepare your mobility, you ask yourself the most frequently asked questions. For example, how do I fund my postdoc? What are my opportunities beyond borders in Europe? How can I convince recruiters in Europe to recruit me? So that's the kind of questions we want to give you practical answers, and that's why we invited over 50 speakers today and tomorrow to help you to prepare your mobility in Europe. But also, mobility is not only going abroad, it's also maybe coming back in your country. And that's a topic also we are going to discuss throughout testimonials of people, of PhDs, who have left academia and who have got an experience also abroad in Europe. So, I also would like to thank you very much, all of you, for coming for this event, and also all the speakers and exhibitors who are here today and tomorrow. Thank you very much for your participation. And before we start, really, I would like to give you some practical information about the way it is organized. So basically, this room will be there where the plenary sessions take place. So all the plenary sessions are here. And on the other side of the room, at the back, you will find the coffee room. So you help yourself and have a cup of coffee, tea, juice, and lunch will be served also in this room. As you noticed in the gallery, you have the exhibition space, where you can meet and exchange with exhibitors. I really insist on that because this event has been designed as a networking event. So don't hesitate to go to them and ask questions. Okay, it's an opportunity for you to meet some people you maybe won't meet otherwise. So just there asking your questions. And there are also two rooms for this event. Maybe you have noticed it already. The library, where the workshops take place. People who are registered for the workshops just have to show off at the entrance and show the Eventbrite ticket. If you are not registered, you can't participate in this workshop except if there are some cancellations. Okay. And the other room is dedicated to individual advisory sessions. So basically, you can benefit from a session of 30 minutes with the career advisors to prepare your mobility. Okay, and you need to register for that at the entrance with my colleagues at the entrance of the gallery. Okay. So that was the main point of the organization for this event, and I would like now to give the floor to the partners of this event. So we'll start with the three partners of this event, so ABG, Association Bernard Gregory, the French-German University, and then the French-Italian University. And then we will conclude this official welcome by a talk by the European Commission, represented by Catherine Ferringer. So let's start, and would ask Vincent Minot to come on stage and to give his welcome speech. Thank you.
Comment? Ah, yes. Thanks, Berenice. First, I would like to thank you all for being here, just like Berenice did a few minutes ago, for this unique event about mobility for scientists in Europe. Thank you also to all the speakers because of the very useful information and advice you're going to give the participants. I would like to thank our partners, the Franco-German University and the Franco-Italian University, as well as the Euraccess Network, of course. We also thank the European Union for their financing of this event, as well as the French Ministry for Higher Education, Research and Innovation for its continuous support of ABG. Finally, I'm especially grateful to Bérénice Quimp, Maria Butzke, and all the ABG team for their involvement in the success of this event. And you will be able to meet the ABG people around at the booth and in the workshop if you have a registration. And as you've understood, all this is about networking. Networking is in our genes at ABG. We help PhDs and companies meet, and that's why we get up every morning, even on mornings like today with the rain. So I hope this event will bring you new insights, new contacts, and new opportunities. So enjoy. And have a good day. So I leave the floor to Dr. Capitan.
Well, good morning to any and all of you, the PhD students and young researchers who are with us this morning and are going to spend 2 days here at the Cité Internationale de Paris in the wonderful building of Belgium, in the Birmans L'Apôtre building. My name is David Capitan, and I'm the Vice President of the Franco-German University. So I'm very happy to address you in English this morning. I just have a little question for my information. I would like to know who of you does not speak French or understand French. So nice, it's a good success because we organized it in English in order to bring here people coming from abroad and not speaking French, and so it's a good success. Thank you for your response. I am happy to greet you on behalf of the French-German University, who is one of the partners of this event, together with the French-Italian University, with the Euraccess, the European Commission portal for researchers' mobility. We supported the organizer of that event, the Bernard Gregory Association. Just some few words about the Franco-German University. The Franco-German University is a Franco-German institution supported by both French and German governments. It has been working for 20 years almost. And the Franco-German University brings together more than 180 French and German universities and grandes écoles, which collaborate in organizing joint degrees. This is our main task in all academic fields. Engineering, do you hear me better like that? So, engineering, human sciences, natural sciences, economy, law, social sciences were present in all the academic fields. We foster the creation of such joint degrees who are organized by our partner universities. We evaluate regularly every 4th year them, and we participate in their financing. Our action also extends to PhD students, and we have several programs ranging from doctoral programs, what we call collèges doctoraux, doctoral colleges in a way. We have grants for co-tutel PhD students, and we support a very large range of summer schools and scientific meetings of young researchers. So don't hesitate to ask for information at the desk we have in the corridor just next to that room. The Franco-German University is involved in the establishment of European universities, which is one of the main goals addressed by President Macron in his now very famous discourse at the Sorbonne in his speech. And together with the other bilateral universities, we are going to make a proposal for such a European university. So we are very proud today to participate to this great event dedicated to researchers' mobility, a genuine European project launched by the Association Bernard Gregory, who acts here a very effective go-between. I wish all of you the best for these 2 days in Paris. Thank you so much. And the French-German University, French-Italian now is going to speak.
Merci, thank you. I am Jean-Claude Arditi. I'm member of the Executive Council of the Franco-Italian University. I will make this afternoon a more operational and detailed presentation of the Franco-Italian University and say now a few words. First of all, thanking the organizers of this meeting today. And I know from the attendance that it is already a success. Thank you for the Association Bernard Gregory, in particular Berenice, for the preparation work. So the Franco-Italian University is a bilateral university, a little bit younger and a little bit smaller than the Franco-German University. It was funded in 1998 by the French and Italian government, and it acts in supporting a variety of programs through a variety of schemes. It covers all academic areas, all disciplinary areas, from social sciences, literature, up to mathematics, engineering, etc. But it focuses on second cycle, that is master programs, doctoral degrees, and postdoc. It doesn't cover the level of bachelor programs. I will explain this afternoon in this operational presentation how these supporting mechanisms function. And today I would like to add also, like my predecessor did, that the Franco-Italian University is interested in exploring the possibility of working together, first of all, with the Franco-German University and the Association Bernard Gregory and other partners in exploring the ways of creating European universities as announced not only by our president but also other European leaders. That's one first message. And the second message is that we are very happy that this program today, this meeting today, is supported. It's the first, it is the first program in which together the Franco-Italian University and the Franco-German University work. And it is supported by the European Union. And we would like to continue in making new events and creating new programs together and seek the support of the European Union that we thank for his support. And so I wish full success for the day today. And we also have a presentation table in the corridor in which you can ask my two colleagues for more details, and I will make a longer presentation this afternoon. So have a good day.
Good morning. I was told to hold the micro here that you really can hear me. I understand that it is for students here in Paris still early morning. Is it true? Yeah. So I thank you very much for coming early morning or half midnight to listen to what we have to say and what we're going to do for you and with you in terms of researchers' mobility and career development. As you can see, I work for the European Commission, and it was really very early morning when I left Brussels this morning. But we believe in the Commission, in DG RTD and Innovation, that you, the researchers, are part of our policies and in the heart of our policies. So let's go back for a mini second to kind of even to say, you, the researchers, you're in the treaty. It is all written there that we should create an area in which researchers, scientific knowledge, and technology will circulate freely. So this is what we have to put in place for you. You then can really enjoy it and be mobile. This is not so easy. And I can tell you it's nothing that the Commission can do on its own. It always goes together with the member states, with the institutions, with the different stakeholders. We work together to create your area or your opportunities for a brain circulation. What is difficult when it comes to mobility? We want to achieve this open labor market for researchers. We want to achieve something that you are not stuck in one country, because when there's one thing, then that research is international and research is mobile. I think the researchers are among the most mobile professions beside footballers, okay, let's forget it, and artists. Artists are also very mobile, because when they have new performances to do, they travel abroad. So, but what is it makes it difficult for you? And I see some of you could be really international researchers. So most of you could be French. I don't know, you can't really say. But what makes it difficult? We need to make sure that there are no longer barriers for mobility. We need to make sure that your diplomas, what you have achieved, is recognized throughout Europe. We also have to make your research career more attractive, because many, many people, they start with their university studies, and then later on, they get a bit frustrated and they turn away from research. But you have decided, because you're passionate about research, to stay in this profession and to work on it. And here, we have to improve the training and the skills of researchers. And there we are right now in the heart of our current discussion also about the next funding program, which will not start today and not start tomorrow, not even the day after tomorrow, after Christmas. We talk about 2021. But there we know pretty well we need to invest and we need to think what skills are needed for the researcher of the next funding cycle. How will you need to be equipped that you can cope with a changing research environment? And it's not only of being excellent in what you do right now in your topic, it is also about being excellent in everything that is listed a bit over there on this post, on this beautiful. You need to be a good marketeer, you need to have communication skills, you need to be creative, and you need to be flexible. I'm not sure if you all believe that you will end your career in academia. How many believe that you will start and end your career in academia? One. Highly realistic. So the others know that their career will be up and down, and probably in academia, probably in private, perhaps an SME, perhaps a startup, perhaps you could become your own manager. You will see. But all this needs a bit of planning and a bit of career development. And this is what we're going to do from different angles also at the European Commission. We have put policies in place. One of them is your access, and I will come back on this tomorrow if you're interested in, where we support your mobility endeavor. But we also work with institutions, how they can improve their human resources policy. We talk about the innovative doctoral trainings, about open recruitment. Open recruitment is key to your success. If later on you apply for a job and the job is only given to the neighbor of the neighbor of the neighbor, you're not going to be happy and you're not going to succeed in your career. We talk about pensions. This seems to be absurd for so many young people that I see here in the room. But considering that you are mobile people, at the end of your career, it may be difficult to collect your pension rights from country A, B, C, D. And therefore, we are thinking about a system, and it's now put in place, that's called Resaver, where we talk about a European pension fund. And not to forget, we talk about mobility programs, and I'm sure you all have heard about it. There is the Marie Skłodowska-Curie actions, where thousands of young researchers are financed and funded every year. But there, again, big warning, be excellent, be good, be prepared, have a good proposal in place. And then later on, when you're a really established researcher, Don't forget the huge money that is available under the European Research Council funding, the ERC, but again, it is competitive and you need to be good. So, means that these 2 days, where the Commission had kind of the pleasure and the honor to co-finance the event, you will talk about your careers. I think you should see it from the different angles about what is your topic, where are your interests, what are your wishes. Networking was already put on the table as a key element. I think it is true. You need to network to be successful in your next career steps. Never forget to look at funding opportunities on the different portals like the one from the ABG or the Your Access portal. We work together, and in future this will be even strengthened. Tomorrow I'm going to tell you a bit more how you can find job opportunities or mobility-related support through the Your Access initiative, through the Your Access network. And in this respect, let me wish you 2 very successful days. It is your time. Enjoy it. And all the best for your research career. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much for your welcome speeches. And now let's go into concrete things. And the first session will be about the presentation of some European research institutes. So you are going to listen to 5 presentations of research institutes. Very short presentation because they have only 5 minutes to present themselves. Why? Because the purpose actually of this flash presentation will be to encourage you to meet them during the exhibition in the gallery directly after the presentation. So basically, there will be no time for questions after the presentation, but the first networking break. So you can have a cup of coffee and tea and whatsoever. And also, and maybe the most important thing, go in the gallery and meet with the representatives of the 5 research institutes coming from different European countries. So I would like to invite on stage Nuria from BIST, Lionel from DKFZ, Annette from Karolinska Institute, Christelle from LIH, and Esther from, or Valérie, I don't know who is Esther, from LISER to make the first presentation. And we will start with Nuria, who is going to present us the BIST. What's the BIST?
Okay, thank you, Berenice, for this opportunity to present the Barcelona Institute of Science and Technology. Okay. This is a new initiative, so we want to become an international reference for training scientists that they are able to face complex projects that can solve the challenge of our society. So BIST is an initiative of 7 research centers that are excellent in Catalonia, and they want to work together to promote multidisciplinarity and cutting-edge research. Here we have representatives from the Institute of Nanotechnology, the Institute of Biomedicine, and then the Institute of Chemistry. So BIST, it's about getting a good critical mass, and it's about promoting a multidisciplinarity research, and it's about working together to get an excellence in research and in education programs. Why? Because we believe that social challenge needs to be addressed from a multidisciplinary approach. And by combining the efforts and the strengths of the research centers, we can get this point of excellence in research and education. and a critical mass. We have good numbers from the point of view of researchers, and also a good scientific outputs, more than 1,000 publications per year, and a capacity to attract European funds. We're involved in many outreach programs, and also we have more than 20 active spin-off. In the area of research, by joining the capacities of the research centers, we are ranked at the 92nd position in the world and the 23rd position in Europe on the Nature Index. But on top of that, we are active working in providing sessions where the researchers from different disciplines can work together and generate new projects, new ideas. Also, we're launching multidisciplinary research projects to really prove all these new concepts and new ideas. This stimulating multidisciplinary research environment, it's a really unique opportunity for us to train scientists that are able to face these complex projects that will respond to the necessity of our society. So then we have programs for master students, programs for PhD students, and programs for postdoctoral researchers. So this September we have launched a master in multidisciplinary research in experimental science with the University of Pompeu Fabra. It's a really pioneering program because it's focused on intensive research training that is designed to prepare PhD students to undertake a PhD program. So most of the credits are dedicated to research training in 2 different projects in 2 different disciplines. And also it's combined with training in professional skills, as scientific communication, project management, and research integrity. Also for PhD students and postdoctoral researchers, we have a co-found program. It's a 5 years program that we want to enroll 28 PhD students and also 61 postdoctoral researchers in 4 different calls. We're working together to join the capacities of all the research centers to offer to the researchers a good list, a good portfolio of training activities in 4 main areas that we believe that are relevant to become a competitive scientist: scientific knowledge, transferable skills, research integrity, and innovation. And we are developing our career development service to give support to researchers along the career progression. On top of that, we're organizing courses along the PhD program to bring together researchers from different institutes to work together in transferable skills and being collaborative researchers. Also for postdocs researchers, we are focused in developing their leadership skills to give support to the transition between PhD student, postdoctoral stage, and also to prepare them to get a good position into the market or into the academia. All these activities aim to develop effective and collaborative new research leaders. Also for postdocs, we want to strengthen the community of postdocs, so we are offering opportunities to self-organize and design activities by postdocs and for postdocs. And also opportunities to develop entrepreneurship skills to facilitate the access to good job positions into the market. So just to finish, so if you want to become a member of the BIS community and want to enroll our community as a PhD student or postdoctoral researcher, please come to us, to me, or to one of the representatives of the research centers, and ask questions, and we will be more pleasant to share our knowledge. Thanks to all of you.
Comme ça va? Collé. Good morning, everyone. My name is Lionel Laribert. I'm a research scientist at the DKZ Institute in Heidelberg, Germany. And I'm talking today on behalf of Dr. Barbara Janssens, who is our head of the career service, and of Dr. Gebhardt, who is the head of the postdoc program. So Heidelberg is located in the southwest Germany, and it's a small-sized city with a very nice historical background, as you can see here. The DKFZ stands for German Cancer Research Center and belongs to the Helmholtz Alliance, which is the biggest science funding agency in Germany. Our institute is divided in 7 different programs. So we have tumor biology, functional genomics, cancer prevention, tumor immunology, imaging, infection and cancer, and the last one, translational cancer research, which is the one where I'm working in. We have, so the DKFZ offers a very strong international PhD program. There are about 550 students right now, including 32 stipends from the DKFZ, and the other students are funding by other ways. Half of them are internationals, so if you have no German skills, it will not be a problem for you. And we have 2 selection process a year, so the deadlines are usually January 5th and May 30th. So as you can see, the first one is coming up soon, so if anyone is interested in a PhD at DKFZ, I encourage them to visit our website, dkfz.de/phd. The DKFZ also have a strong partnership with Israel in the context of the German-Israeli Helmholtz Research School, where PhD students are able to travel over there for a period of 6 to 12 months. DKFZ also offers a postdoc program, which is now called Connecting the Dots. There are about 400 postdocs, which are usually international researchers or clinician scientists. Since 2 months, there is a new career center which is born, and I'm going to go back to that in the next slide. Our postdoc program includes an active postdoc network, which is a subset of the postdocs at DKFZ, who are very actively and enthusiastically organizing social events, but also annual meetings, retreats, or career days. And as an example, last Friday I was at the Career Day with the topic R&D, Research and Development, where 12 DKFZ alumni came to explain what they did after DKFZ and how they end up working in the industry. And finally, the working language, once again, is English. So if you don't speak German, it will not be a problem for you. However, I strongly encourage to learn it as soon as you live there. So this career center is funded with 150K per year over 5 years. And the plan is to really strongly accompany our postdocs toward the end. So basically, the idea is that they should already know what they want to do once they start their postdoc. So DKFZ offers up to 10 fellowships for postdocs per year after a strong selection process as well. And you can have more information on our website, dkfz.de/postdoc. But we also encourage you to directly contact the labs and the lab heads to talk to them and see if there are any alternative opportunity for funding. So the next announcements for postdoc fellowships will be next spring. And this is my last slide. So we have an international staff service, which is taking care of all foreigners coming to work in the DKFZ. So, and they are really helpful with any problem with visa, residence permit, how to choose a bank account or health insurance, and childcare, of course. So thank you for your attention. And if you have more questions, feel free to visit our booth, where I will be until tomorrow at 12. Thank you.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Annette. I'm working at Karolinska Institute in Sweden. And 10 years ago, I decided to leave research and to support research career development, both within academia and also outside academia. So in Sweden, we have many universities, and Karolinska, Stockholm University, Royal Institute of Technology, and Uppsala University also run a Science for Life laboratory. It's a facility, core facility for all Sweden in bioinformatics. And Karolinska is the second largest producers of PhD students in Sweden. And we're also the largest center for medical education and research. And we receive about 40% of the national research funding in medical area. And this is two very new building in our campus. So on the right side here you see the new laboratory that will be moved into next year, and it will host about 1,600 researchers. So it will be a large move during spring, but then hopefully if you join KI during the half of next year, you have really good facilities to do research. And these are some of the research areas. So we have research in cancer, we have research in neuroscience and public and international health, and many more. And you can find more information on our webpage on all of these. On the next side of the street, we also have a new hospital that has been built and started running this year. So there is a lot of clinical research collaborations going on, and also both in education and in advanced healthcare solutions. I will talk a little bit about the academic career at Karolinska. So we have about 2,300 PhD students, about 1,000 postdocs, and then you can see there's a big gap. So we have about 200 assistant professors. And if you're a postdoc and want to move to assistant professor, you need to know that you need to take this career step within 7 years after PhD degree, and this will change during next year, so you need to move up to assistant professor 5 years after your PhD. So this has caused a lot of extra work for career service, because there is some panic now, postdoc that have been longer than 5 years, how to continue on that academic career. I should say you can also apply to the professor and senior research fellow positions with more than 7 years, but of course you will compete with all the others that have been perhaps doing more research. We also have faculty-funded positions, and they are usually advertised in February, March. This year we had about 20 positions, and we had 200 applications for this, and they were filled now with about 90% international researchers. So we have succeeded with recruiting international researchers, and about 50% of the researchers are international ones. So English is the research language. All positions are advertised at this webpage, and you will get the presentation afterwards. If you want to have an academic career, learn how to get funding. At KI, we support researchers who wants to apply for Marie Curie fellowships. We support the researchers that want to apply for the European Research Council grants. This is some of the activities we do. We run a PhD course called Career Skills for Scientists that have 100% of the attendees recommend the course to other fellow PhD students. It's about transferable skills and how to succeed both within academia and outside. We run 2 different internship programs, and about 25% of the PhD student and postdoc attending internship project for 2 months, they get an offer of employment at the company afterwards. We have made a career magazine that have career stories, and you can collect. We have some magazine with us, but you can also read it online. And it's both academic and non-academic career options or portraits. Here you find the information. We're currently also running a blog together with postdocs and researchers at KI, and we have a calendar. So we will post, or have just recently posted, that we are here now today. And the other days the other research write different posts. And you're welcome to come and talk to us. We will be here today, and I have 2 colleagues with me as well. And looking forward to come to answer questions. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Christelle Massot. I work at the Luxembourg Institute of Health. I know that 5 minutes is very short, so it will be fast. We have created a movie for you to present you first Luxembourg and after what is LIH, the Luxembourg Institute of Health. So you will not see everything, every aspect that we can present at LIH, but at least you will see some of them. Is it true what they say about? But about what? Luxembourg. Bureaucracy is a religion. Progress is measured in runs per minute. And people mind their own business. No. It's not true. In the heart of Europe, a country with great social and political stability, where opportunity and safety are not in contradiction. The secret of its success may be the exceptional combination of its multinational workforce, its political stability, the investor-friendly mindset, and the emphasis on education and research. So now I would like to present to you LIH. What is LIH? Luxembourg Institute of Health, with biomedical sciences research. At LIH, devoted scientists investigate disease mechanisms to develop new diagnostics, innovative therapies, and effective tools to implement personalized medicine. So LIH means 360 employees, 3 departments, 1 biobank, state-of-the-art equipment, 192 agreements signed, 270 ongoing projects, and 292 publications. Here is our Department of Infection and Immunity, where laboratory technicians, PhD students, postdoc researchers, engineers are all working together on different topics. We have also platforms with state-of-the-art equipment. There is the site of 2. It's a powerful technique used to perform deep immune profiling at a single cell level with up to 42 metal isotopes. And now our Department of Oncology. Research are focused on cancer, breast cancer for instance, but not only, brain cancer also. And another equipment is this magnetic resonance equipment, a scanner, a small one for mouse. It is used to see the evolution of the brain tumor in the mouse. Our researchers use also genomic, transcriptomic, and proteomic analysis technologies. The Department of Population Health, the third one, with their Parkinson biomarkers, cardiovascular disease research, clinical investigation, health economics, and biomonitoring.
Plus étendu que par une analyse d'urine ou de sang. C'est-à-dire que la vitesse de croissance du cheveu étant de l'ordre de 1 cm par mois, dès qu'on analyse plusieurs centimètres, admettons 3 cm, comme ça a été fait souvent dans...
Sport medicines also. We follow patients with knee soft tissue injuries. LIH means also for us talented researchers, giving conferences all over the world. A PhD student community with a special training program for them. 35 different nationalities. We speak French, German, English, Luxembourgish, but not only, and also social events. This was our last Christmas party. So now I can only say come to visit us at the table, for instance, first, and stay with us in Luxembourg after. Thank you for your attention.
Good morning. Let us remain a bit in Luxembourg. So we would say good morgen in Luxembourg to say bonjour. I'm very glad to be here with you. I would like, first of all, to extend our warmest thanks to ABG and to Berenice, our colleague, for inviting us. My name is Esther. I am in charge of the doctoral program at LISER. LISER is a public research institute in Luxembourg, and it stands for Luxembourg Institute of Socio-Economic Research. So how is it going to move here? First of all, I would like to talk to you about our workforce. Our human capital is really our wealth in the institute. So you see here the numbers. We have a really international team of researchers and support for research. As you see, we have only 25 employees with Luxembourgish nationality. All the other are from different countries. We have 26 countries represented, and as you see, it's gender balanced with a little advantage for women. And we also host, or we have 28 PhD candidates who are supervised by our researchers. Our institute has 3 main departments and another department that I will be talking about. So let me present you the labor market department. You have here a small list of our leading questions in this department, which is composed of 25 researchers and with leading 24 projects, and has for last year 31 publications. So you see that we have very diverse questions regarding labor markets in Luxembourg and in Europe, like why are women more satisfied in the workplace, for instance, or how can social partners contribute to gender equality. But we work also, we have a big team working about immigrants, and for instance, the question about the what is the intention to settle influence their labor market integration, and the team about also childcare and how it affects the labor supply of mothers. These are small examples of the very diverse questions they are tackling. The second department is living conditions, department with 32 researchers, which is leading 28 projects and had this year 37 publications. You see here also some examples of the topics, like research work about the minimum income and how this guaranteed minimum income affect or encourage social inclusion. The teams are working about inequality, about poverty, and developing ways of measuring inequality and poverty, but also we have questions like how is multiculturalism shaping social cohesion? Again, a very large scope of questions. Another department I would like to present, the third one, is urban development and mobility. This is really special because we have with us social geographers working together with economy, sociologists, and others. We have 29 researchers leading 21 projects, and this year they had 23 publications. And they are, as you know, Luxembourg is at the border of three main countries, Germany, Belgium, and France. And so we have a lot of cross-borders workers every day crossing the borders and coming to work in Luxembourg. So this is a really interesting issue to analyze and to see all the consequences on mobility, transport, housing. So all these questions like how are housing policies affecting residential choices and real estate prices, these are questions that we are tackling in this department. And we have another department. It's the fourth one, but it's really at the service of all the departments. It's our department about service, and it's a data center that was recently developed in Leisure. So we have here 17 people working in this data center. And we have to say that over the years, as we developed experience about survey methodology, and we have large databases of surveys, we have developed a catalog, a LISA database catalog, which is newly developed, and it allows access to more than 150 databases and their associated metadata. So we have really here developed excellence in survey, and we are developing more and more about it. LISA really promotes mobility, which is the topic of our meeting here. We have schemes for mobility in and mobility out. So for mobility in, we have a very successful visiting scholars program every week. We can say we have researchers coming from abroad, spending for short-term or long-term visits. So you see here, for instance, that for this year we have had 29 visiting scholars coming from 12 different countries, and they spent in total 109 weeks. But we have also a scheme for mobility out, as we encourage our researchers to take a scientific leave and develop partnerships with research institutions, universities abroad. So let's look at the future and how we see our mission for the coming years. The main goal of LISA is really to contribute to building a sustainable and inclusive society. This is our contribution to society. And for the coming years, we aim to develop our mission along three main goals, as you see here. First, we would like to contribute to strengthen and enrich our research infrastructure. Second, we would like to consolidate our national and international positioning in 5 areas of excellence. One about public policies, welfare, and socio-economic inequalities. One about public policies and labor markets. About employer-employee relationships, urban policies, and spatial mobility. These are 5 main areas where we want to really consolidate our positioning at the European and international level. And third, we want to align with national and European priorities and mobilize something which is really rich in our institute, the interdisciplinarity of our teams, by orienting their work around 3 axes of priority research, crossing borders, health and health systems, and digital transformation, which is one of the very current topic. This was a very quick presentation. Of course, you are very much welcome at our booth. Together with our HR manager, we would like to welcome you and answer your questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you all for your presentations. Always a pleasure to have you, to count on you for such events. Thank you very much. And as I explained to you, there is no time for questions because there is a break, first break. So you are kindly invited to go to the exhibition booth to meet all the people over there. And also in the other room, coffee, tea, and juices are waiting for you. And we start again at 11:15. Thank you. We start in 5 minutes, so I would like to ask you to have your seat, please, and the speakers to come in the front of the room. Thank you. Okay, so let's start again with with the next session. This session is dedicated to the presentation of research landscape in Europe with some countries. So today we have 3 countries represented, Norway, Czech Republic and Germany, and tomorrow you will have additional countries presenting their research and innovation organization. So we have the pleasure today to welcome 3 representatives of French embassies, Mathieu Velov from the French Embassy in Czech Republic, Jean-Jacques Pierrat from the French Embassy in Germany, and Jean-Michel Portefeuille, French Embassy in Norway. Why did we decide to put this session? Because it's important for you also when you decide to go abroad in Europe to know a little bit more about the research landscape, how research is organized in different countries. It's something you may not necessarily aware of. And it's important also to collect all the information you can on the countries you are targeting for your mobility. So, for example, what are the main players in research, which sectors are the most research intensive, and so on. That's the kind of information you are going to discover with the 3 different presentations. And I would like to ask Mathieu Velov to start with his presentation on Czech Republic.
Thanks a lot. My name is Mathieu Velov. I'm actually not a doctor, so I think I'm the only one in the room. So if you have any scientific questions, you just don't ask them to me. Second issue, this is the first time I do this presentation, so please be nice and gentle. Third thing, I will focus on 3 topics. The first one is research in Czech Republic. The second is jobs in Czech Republic, and the third is how to find a job in research in Czech Republic. So it's pretty simple and straightforward. First of all, Czech Republic is the smallest country that has been discussed today. Maybe not the smallest, but the one that people know least. Of course, when you compare it to Norway and Germany, you all know Norway and Germany. Czech Republic is slightly more difficult. So it is don't ever say that it's in Eastern Europe. They hate it. So it's in Central Europe. Actually, Prague is west of Vienna. And it is a country that is worth discovering. I'll tell you about it. Why is it worth discovering? First of all, in a nutshell, the presentation. There's a huge increase in research and development spending in Czech Republic. It's actually a strategy by the country to try to get out of the industrial relationship to Germany. Basically, Czech Republic is the country in Europe with the highest part of the GDP in industry, 38%. It's 13 in France and 26 in Germany. But most of the companies are working for German companies. So their problem is that they have only one customer and they want to increase the quality of the products and therefore they invest in R&D. And this is the curve. Highlighted in black, it's the OCDE curve, and the French one is the second one in violet, and the third one is the Czech one in red. The other one are the other comparable countries, so Hungary then, Slovak and Poland. And you see that actually there is a huge increase. The increase of money is actually the use of European structural fund. Czech Republic is using the European fund, and instead of using it for roads or railways or tax decrease, they put it on research and development. Second point, it's the situation of the labor market in Czech Republic. If you're looking, these are the statistics for all Europe. The first blue one is EU 20, the EU. France is somewhere in the middle, and Czech Republic is the first one on the left. So the unemployment rate today in Czech Republic is 2.7%. It's the lowest by far in all European countries, and it means that actually there is not enough workers today in Czech Republic. So it's not that it's easy to find a job, it's that it's actually very easy to find a job. And if you combine the two, you see that it's they do invest in research and development, and they don't have enough people to work in the country. So you might understand that it might be a good opportunity to find a job in research in that country. So I'll focus now on research. I'll make a very brief presentation of 6 research centers, which are more or less equivalent of what you've seen in the previous roundtable. These are European centers of excellence. Basically, what they offer is state-of-the-art equipment, which is still underused. The money which is related, so the first one, ELI, is in high-intensity lasers, close to Prague. The second one, CETEC, is in nanosciences, close to Brno. The third one, BioSafe Biosciences. Well, everything is written down, so I won't go into the details. But the sum you have here is the investment put into the research centers, which are quite high figures. And you need to also have in mind that most of those centers have been commissioned in the last 5 years, usually in the last 3 years, and some of them are not fully commissioned yet. So it's brand new research centers with a lot of money in. And the problem is that the equipment that they have is still underused. And of course it's been financed mostly by the European Union. Now, very briefly, the research landscape in Czech Republic. So first of all, those very, very big national European Center for Excellences. Then you have quite a lot of regional centers, smaller, but all around the country. Then large infrastructure for research and development and innovation. It's basically the one that are close. It's the older research center that have been refurbished. 26 public universities. You might want to know the Czech Republic is actually importing more students than sending out, and it's unlike all the other countries in the regions, Poland, Slovakia, and Hungary. They are exporting the students. Students are more leaving the country than going in. In Czech Republic is the opposite. For Erasmus, for instance, there are 700 Czech Erasmus students in France, and 1,000 every year French Erasmus students in Czech Republic. So they're attracting students because they did invest a lot in the universities, and the universities are quite high level. and public research institutes, which are mostly linked to the Academy of Science, which is the equivalent of CNRS in France. So that's the violet part, and the green one is the other one linked to different ministries. There is still a difference between university research and Academy of Science research. The group joint teams, like we have in France, for instance, are still not common. I'll come back to that. So basically, all this is just to explain you that there are two cities in which you might want to look for an opportunity: Prague, the capital city, and Brno, the region of the capital of the Moravia region. So if you look for a job, aim for those two cities. Now, available jobs in research. So to have an overview in the country, it's a 10 million inhabitant countries, and today there's more than 200,000 job offers, for which all the companies have difficulties to find actually candidates. The main difficulty of the companies in the country is to find a candidate for the job offer. The ratio between those numbers, the first one, the job available, and the number of people looking for a job is 1.3, which means that for each job offer, there's 1.3 possible candidate. And of course, since there's never a real link between the candidate and the job offer, you can understand that for a lot of job offers, there's not even one candidate. And a lot of others, when there's one candidate, the company is really eager to hire that person. Now in research, the biggest website for finding a job in Czech Republic is called jobs.cz, that's the one. And I made a research just before coming with just the tag research in English, not in Czech. And I got almost 600 results, so I didn't go into details. And then we have a partnership with a new startup, which is called Czech Research Jobs, which is finding all the jobs specifically in public research centers. And today on their website, there's more than 50 offers. We are not speaking about PhD. We are not speaking about postdocs. We are speaking about jobs. So this targets mostly to those of you who have finished their PhD or who already are past the postdoc. Okay, no, there are actually, on the third line, there are actually postdocs also open. It's 50 today. Last month it was 80, so it's moving around the month, but basically there's a lot of them. Having seen that situation, the French embassy launched a project which we call Czech Emploi because it's funny. We used to call it the reversed Polish plumber, but it didn't work out. So basically what we will do is collect the collection and diffusion of the job offers, not only research, the information to those of you who want to go to help you make the decision. This is also based on the European program. You need to know that if you find a job, you're from one European country and you find a job in another European country, then Pôle emploi can provide you some money. For Czech Republic, it's, for instance, 700 euros for your just moving fees, and more than 1,200 euros just for language lessons. So if you go through that project, you will be paid, you'll get money just for moving out. And the third thing we'll do is support to the recruiter staff. So if you find a job in Czech Republic, we'll help you mostly by providing Czech courses. It's a pilot project. It's for 1 year because it's not the French embassy's job. So if at the end of the year the project doesn't work, we'll stop it. If it works, then a private company will take it from there. We are targeting 3 groups, which are basically depends on their education level. The first one is for people with very low training and very low education, and they need to speak French only, not even English. Czech, we don't want anyone speaking Czech because there's no one speaking Czech outside of Czech Republic. You need to know that. So for service centers, you speak French only, and you have only the baccalaureate, or even not even that, you can find a job. And it's a real job. The pay won't be excellent, but it's a real job, and it's a real first experience. For mid-management in industry and service, and that's for people who've done basically engineering school or university masters, there's a lot of jobs in English. And then the third area in which we believe there is a real interest in research, in which the language is English only. Our partners for that are Pôle emploi and maybe ABG, and that's actually why I came here today, because in the research I believe that there is a room for an intelligent partnership with ABG, Association Bernard Gregory. Now, to conclude, it's pretty straightforward. There is a massive investment in research and development to check, that's what I told you, to change the Czech development model. It means also that everything is not perfect. They have some rich man's problem. There's, in a way, the fact that there's so much money and new money in the country means that they don't know how to cover the operating cost of those new centers. They put a lot of money investment, but maybe some of them will fail. We don't know. There's still a limited Age 2020 project because they have more success in their local financing schemes, which means they don't have to go to Europe, which means they still don't know how to do that, and they might look for people that have some experience there. And there's still a lack of coordination between public and private research sectors and the Academy of Science and universities. But still, it means that it's rich man's problem. It means that there's a lot of money in research and development now. Second point, there is a lack of workforce. We are under the full employment limit. Actually, it's the other way around. The lack of workers is the main limit to the economic development of the country. New companies will not invest and come in the country because they don't find enough workers to hire. So coming from France, it's really crazy. And so it is altogether an excellent opportunity for young French professionals, especially in the field of research. Okay, I'm targeting French, but it's all European candidates, and actually from all over the world. But if you're European, then it is in a EU member, so you have very limited administrative hassle. It is an extremely nice country, believe me. It's historical. There's the highest ratio of castle per inhabitant in the whole world. It's also, it's the sixth safest country in the world and the safest country in Europe, which means that actually the most dangerous thing that can happen to you is, the most dangerous thing in the country is tramway, the trams. They are dangerous, but that's the most dangerous thing in the country. And beer. They are the biggest consumers in the whole world, and half a liter of beer, if it's more than €1, it's really in a posh place, and that's half a liter. It's a good one. You can see that just by looking at me. And the negative point is actually speaking Czech is really difficult. One of the previous speakers told us that you need to learn German when you come to Germany. Well, speaking Czech is way more difficult, so you need to try to do that. It won't be necessary for your professional life. You can also live by not speaking Czech in major cities, so Prague and Brno, but it's really something that you should do, and you need to know that it's not easy. And that's my conclusion. If you need more information, you can either contact me or contact the direct address that we have for people looking for a job in research, but not only in Czech Republic. Thanks for your attention.
Bonjour à toutes et à tous. First of all, I would like to thank the Association Bernard Gregory and especially Berenice Camp for inviting me to this event dedicated to research on mobility and career development in Europe. My name is Jean-Jacques Pirat, and I'm the Counselor for Science and Technology at the French Embassy in Berlin. We have in Berlin a big team. It's 12 people working on science and technology, and we have 2 people also in Munich. And all these people are dedicated to the collaboration between France and Germany. My presentation today will focus on R&D landscape in Germany, and as you can see, there are 3 parts. The first one will focus on the main actors of this landscape. Then I will switch to strategies which are in place in Germany, and then I will give you another look of what we are doing at the bilateral level. And if we go further, I would like to present you the figures which are really important in Germany. As you may know, research and development and innovation are really a key priority for the German government at the federal level, but not only at the federal level, also at the regional level. And we have a funding, huge amount of funding, which is 90 billion of euro. If you compare with France, for example, we have 47 billion euro. Not exactly the same country as a size, but I think it's important to have this number, these figures. And also the split between public and private. You have 1/3 of the funding which comes from the public and 2/3 from private R&D activities. And what is the most important in this slide is that Germany has reached the 3% of GDP in 2016. And if you compare with France, I don't have the latest number, but I think we do have 2.23, something like that. And it's about 350,000 researchers, and we have in France 250 researchers. Next slide, I will go more in details in the main actors. So we have at different level, the federal level. So I will focus on for the first part on the federal ministries, the 16 lenders, the 16 states in Germany, and then extra university research organization. The important key player for research in development at the federal level is the Federal Ministry for Education and Research. And what is important on this slide is that there's education. This federal ministry is in charge of education, but the universities are more at the regional level, and the lenders are responsible for universities. It's not the responsibility of the ministry, Federal Ministry of Research. The minister is Johanna Vanka from the CDU, which is a political party in Germany. And the budget is really, really important budget. It's 17 billion of euro. And as I will show you later on, I will show you the increase. And during the last 10 years, there was an increase of 8% per year. So last year it was only 16 billion, and this year is 17 billion. So it's a huge amount of money dedicated to education, but also to research. And what is really important for this ministry is, in fact, to put this to create the policy for research and development. And they do have, but I will show you more information about that. The high-tech strategy, framework programs, and national thematic programs. And you will see how this money will go directly to research organization, but not only. They are trying more and more to give this money to universities, even though universities are from the responsibility of the states. Another really important ministry is the Ministry of Economy and Industry. The minister is not working. Minister is Brigitte Tsupris from SPD, so it's another political party. And the budget is a little bit lower, it's 7.7 billion. And as you can see here, but I will not explain all what is on this slide, but the different responsibilities of this ministry, for example, innovation, the support of SMEs and startups, and the field of energy and sustainability, and also the aerospace. As you may know, in France, space is a subject followed by the Ministry of Research, but here in Germany, it has been given to the Minister of Industry, and I think it was 5 or 7 years before. And I have this slide shows the repartition of the budget, and as you can see, there are two ministries really much involved in terms of financing in research and development. Obviously, there is the Ministry of Research and the Ministry of Industry, and as you can see on this slide, it's three-quarters of the total budget of funding, which comes from the two ministries. And the other ministries are here, and they are defense, agriculture, and transport. Well, now we are at another level in Germany, and we are at the regional level. So as you may know, there are 16 Länder or regional states in Germany, and these Länder are, as I said before, really responsible for higher education, for universities, and they do have a specific budget for this responsibility and also for R&D. And as you can see, the budget of the total budget of the 16 Länder is 10 billion, but it was in 2013. It's really difficult to get this information all over Germany, and I got only the number for 2013. And what is really important on this slide is to see that there are regional research policies, because all these Länder are putting in place this kind of policies, and there is a federal policy made by the Ministry of Research, and one question might be how this can work really nicely. There is what we call in Germany GWK, which is a joint science conference, which gathers the ministers, but also the people in charge of policy at the state level. And all these people gather each year and are working together to know what different states are doing, and to see if there are something that they can put in place all together. So it's really an important organization for coordination of all the effort of Germany in terms of R&D. Well, another slide for the funding. As you can see, from 2000 to 2006, there was a plateau, and in terms of fundings. So you see the green is the funding coming from the federal state, and the blue is coming from the Länder. But after 2007 and between 2007 and 2014, there is an increase, and as I said before, it's about 8% of increase. And as you can see, the Länder are following this increase because there are many programs, and I will show you this program. There are many programs which are linked with the program made in place by the federal government. I will show you that later on. The next actors, and this morning we had this presentation from DKFZ, which is in Heidelberg, and we have here the research organization in Germany, what we call extra university research organization, which means that these organizations are pretty much independent, but they are linked. 5 minutes, wow. They are linked with universities, and but I will speed up. Yeah, they are from basic science here, the Max Planck Society, to applied science, Fraunhofer Society. And for example, Helmholtz community, and this morning, DFKZ was one of the 18 centers here. And in terms of financing, on this slide, you can see that the Fraunhofer Society has financing from 78% coming from private contracts, but not only private contracts, it's also coming from EU financing. Next slide, you can see what I said before. The economy is financing a lot. It's 2/3 of the funding coming from economy, and the universities are financing also an important part of the R&D budget. And you can see here it's from the basic research to the applied research, and you see here the Max Planck Gesellschaft, and here the Fraunhofer at the end of this axis. And here you have the financing coming from public to private. When mobility and funding organizations are concerned, as you probably may know, the important agency in terms of fundings for universities and research organizations is DFK, which is working a lot at the bilateral level with ANR, with the national agency in France. And we have, for mobility, we have two important players. The first one is DAAD, and is for the mobility of students, and they do have a lot. And I do have, for those of you who would like to have this information, we do have the list of possibilities in terms of attractivity of students, and students and young researchers. And the Alexander from Ulbund is from a young researcher to a senior researcher. I will go rapidly to different types of program and strategy. The first one is, well, this one should be not there, but that's all right. The new high-tech strategy, it's a framework that the federal government, the Ministry of Research, put in place in 2014, and basically it's a strategy which doesn't provide fundings, but guidance. It means guidance to specific call for projects. So it was really for Germany the framework, and you can see here the 6 strategic priorities put in place by the BMBF. Then you have something which is really important, which is called the Pact for Research and Innovation, and it was the main objective, as you can see, was to reach the 3% of GDP dedicated to R&D, and what the federal government did was to increase the funding of the research organization, of the 4 research organizations, and an increase from 3% to 5% per year, which means an increase of 150 to 200 million euro every year. And it started in 2006, and it allows the federal government to give money to universities, which was not exactly in the federal German federal constitution, but with this Pact for Research and Innovation, it was a possibility for the government to give this kind of money. The Excellence Initiative was in 3 phases, and there is 1 phase is going on. The selection is going on for the 3rd one, and it will start in 2019. There are 2 main objectives, and the first one is to establish what we call elite universities. it was really something something different in the mentality of Germany to select and to show the excellence in terms of universities. And the second one was to provide funding also to excellence cluster. So it's 5 billion since 2006. And well, this map is really important. This initiative give the opportunity to also to show on a map who are really excellent in which domain. So you can see here the result of the second phase. And I will try to... So the next one was at the European level. As you can see, Germany is really much involved in terms of Horizon 2020 and is the first recipient with 16% of the funding and 8,000 participants. In the future framework program, which is also really an important issue for Germany, for France, for all the countries in Europe, there's what we call a position paper for Germany, which has been released, and there is this two was to tackle challenges collectively and to have a framework program more interactive, result-oriented, consistent, and user-friendly. And as you may know, Germany is really much in favor of the European research area. I will go. Do I have some time for the cooperation? Or okay. Yeah, I can. Okay. Okay, good. The French-German cooperation, which is really in terms of in the field of science and technology, it's really much important cooperation. We have these bilateral meetings, and here you can see the Minister Voncar and the Minister Vidal at the bilateral meeting in July. We have a really strong framework, and what is really important is that we have the French-German Ministerial Council, which takes place every 6 months or at least once a year, and there are scientific and research topics which may be addressed. So we had this meeting in July with a feuille de route, a roadmap in terms of higher education and research. And another important meeting is the French-German Research Forum, and the next one will be in May. And we are working very much with Germany on the 4 specific topics. And basically, the idea was to, on this topic, to focus on specific field and to give money to these fields. Important actor, but you will have a presentation, is French-German universities. And we do have also a different call for project, but I don't want to go into details. As I said, it's relation between our 2 agencies. Well, some example of cooperation, but I will go further on. And I will leave you on this slide, but this is not the latest version of my PowerPoint. So I put also, if you would like to have some numbers, I've put also the BMBF has provided in 2006 really good presentation of all these numbers that I presented today. So if you are interested on the website of BMBF, you will find it. That's it. No, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes, good morning. First, I would like also to thank the Association Bernard Gregory for inviting me today, especially Berenice, to present what we are doing in Norway. and to present the research landscape in Norway. So Norway is a small country, so I guess my presentation will be also shorter. So just to remember you about a few facts about Norway. As you can see, Norway is a country quite far north, even this name is the way to the north. And with a line, you can see on the map a line with the Arctic Circle. So it's a constitutional monarchy with only a few more than 5 million inhabitants, with still quite a large country. Also for the French people, you will understand that the PIB, or for the other ones, this number is also, of course, the GDP. And of course, I would say the 2 points that underline the activities of Norway is that it's the third gas exporter and the 10th oil exporter in the world. I will come back to that later because we'll have an influence about what Norway is doing in research and what's going on at the moment. So most of you know that Norway about the fjords and the beautiful landscape with a lot of snow and ice, but it's not only that. And for a long time, Norway have been a country with an economy based on the resources. And first, many years ago, 100 years ago, it started with exploiting hydroelectricity, which was, and at the moment, all the electricity that is produced in Norway is already green, coming from hydroelectricity. And for a long time, the economy has been based also about fishing, and you know all about salmon coming from Norway. But also, the country is very rich in mining and has a lot of minerals. But what has made Norway very particular at the moment is from since the 60s, the exploitation of oil that made Norway becoming one of the richest countries in the world. And for many years, the economy has been based on the exploitation of the oil. And so I could say that for many years also, Norway didn't have to go through innovation and through research intensely because just by exploiting the oil and with the price of the oil, everything was fine. But we will see that, well, with the crisis of the oil 2 years ago, a few years ago, Norway has to think about his future and to develop other activities. So I was not thinking also this morning, as I was saying to my colleagues, that I will be representing countries with the highest rate of unemployment, because in Norway the rate of unemployment is 4.5 at the moment after the crisis. But I think that is still okay. What is very particular in Norway also about the society, before going back to science, is the trust that you can find in the society. I was saying also yesterday about an example that when I arrived to Norway, on summertime you can find strawberries on the road, the farmers selling strawberries, but the farmers are not there. They just put the strawberries with a box on the side. You go up, you stop, you pick your strawberries, you put the money on the box, and you leave. I think that in most of the country, at least in Europe, you will find neither the box, neither the strawberries at the end of the day. Also, there is a country where technology has been developed in any kind of the activities. For example, if you have seen the size of Norway, you can find 4G in all the countries, even in small villages, we have 4G technologies. You have also a high rate of higher education. And the standards of units also Norway is one of the countries that sees every year say that's one of the best countries to live in the world. And it's come up also with high consideration about equalities, where the range of salaries are very one of the lowest in the world, and with a big spirit of cooperation, being small countries. Now, concerning the research, going back to research and the research field, as I mentioned, Norway is one of the greenest countries in the world, and so the topics we will have in Norway in research and in the diversification of economy will concern renewable energy, geology, as I said in my first slide, there are a lot of resources, and still petroleum technology are a strong, all the petroleum technology have a strong impact on the research activities. But also what we can see now is that all this technology, the research try to develop this technology and to apply this technology in other sectors. Of course, there is a lot of consideration about climate change. I didn't mention that on my first slide when you saw the slide about Norway. There is the main territory, but on the north, very close to the North Pole, we've got a special place that is called Svalbard, where that is very in the Arctic, where we're doing quite a lot of research. We even have a common basis with Germany, and so all what is happening in the climate change is happening there very quickly, and so a lot of collaboration and a lot of countries are making research in this area. So of course you see also the line on the coast and the activities and fisheries. So all research regarding marines and maritime activities and technology are quite important in Norway. And also, and more, Norway tried to develop all the research in clinical medicines. There was already a lot of activities in medicine, I would say technology and remote technology. As you've seen the size of the country and the few people around there, they try to develop technology to, to about telemedicine and things like that. And of course, after, so I will mention public administration, and as I already mentioned, all the Arctic science are a very important part of the research. Well, just to be sure that all of you are on the same level of information, the relation between Norway and the EU. Norway is not part of the EU. Is even not, so it doesn't have any euro. But nevertheless, so there was Norway rejected already twice the membership to the EU in 1970 and 1994. But nevertheless, Norway is part of the European Economic Area, and Norway signed an associated membership agreement with the Schengen agreement. So it means that if you are a European citizen, you can move to Norway and work to Norway very easily. Norway is also part of the OECD. And I say that Norway is not part of the EU, but I would say that in a lot of topics, Norway act as it was part. We will see after. But for example, what is very important for you is that Norway contributes to your H2020 program, Erasmus program, all the European program on research and innovation. Norway is a member as all the other one. Regarding the investment in research and development, you will see we already saw that in Germany, a strong involvement of companies in financing research. So you will see that industry will also will be involved in development, applied research, and for a small part in basic research. And after in Norway, you will find few research organizations that are usually specialized organizations that are also focused mostly on applied research. And for the biggest part, and we will see that after, research and especially fundamental research is focused and realized in universities. So as part of the organization, we're going to come back to that, but you will find also a Ministry of Education and Research, and the operator will be the Research Council. And so that's what I was saying about the downscale, but it's quite simple. It's that the Research Council is the main operator where you will find all the calls and the funding opportunities for research. And another part will come also for industry. So the Research Council operate in fundamental research, but also it's very involved in research in companies. If you want more information, there is also a government white paper that was settled for the years 2015 to 2024, sorry. And this government paper has been implemented after by the Research Council, so you can find also paper from the Research Council that for the same years where you will find the strategy, and you will also see that the strategy of the Research Council is totally based on the priority of H2020 program. So as you have seen before with Germany, such a big amount of money, but if you consider the size of Norway, the budget operated by the Research Council is already 1 billion euros. And Norway will fund, I think it will be quite similar to what you have seen before. Will fund a research program that it will be can be fundamental programs on specific topics. But I also mentioned there is a big impact and a big fundings about industry-driven research. And in the last years, there will be a big investment in infrastructure, frontier research, and center of excellence. Though, as I've said before, there are big wishes of diversification of the economy, so with a big involvement both in research and also in hiring a PhD and postdoc. So you can see here the evolution of for example, on the right side of the slide, of the co-publication. As I said, Norway is a small country, so Norway tried to develop a lot of cooperations with other countries. So, of course, the main one are the biggest one. You will find the USA, United Kingdom, and after the neighbor Sweden, Germany coming soon, and Denmark, Netherlands, and after France. What is interesting to see is the increase of the co-publication between 2006 and 2016. So as you can see, a big wishes of internationalization of research, and with a big link between industry and public sectors. As I mentioned before also, mainly the research is done by university. So the main one, I will say the most famous one is the University of Oslo. But for technology, the most important one will be the University of Trondheim, that is called NTNU. And you will find other big university like in Bergen. Something special, that is the Arctic University of Norway, in the north of Norway, very close to after the Arctic Circle. And some more specialized universities that are trying to change. For example, the University of Stavanger was really linked to activities linked to petroleum and developing activity of petroleum. After that, you will see 48 university college, but at the moment there is also a wishes to merge of this college to main university. And as I mentioned, you have also some research institute like SINTEF. That is a applied research center that gets a lot of the biggest part of its money from private or EU call, and you will find some specialized organization working on climate, on geology, on biology, but they are very smaller centers. Most of the research is done, the fundamental research is done by the 8 universities. So as I mentioned, I will not go back to that, but all the strategy of Norway is being involved in H20 project. So they give a lot of money to increase their participation in H20 project. Compared to that, you will also find some bilateral cooperation and some multilateral research program. You can find all this information on the website of the Research Council, of course. And so as mentioned, so Norway for the moment has a lot of money coming from the oil, and but at the moment they are preparing the changes by investing a lot in cooperation. And just to finish, I would also like to mention a few programs that we have with France and Norway. We've got what we call a OSGAR program, that is a 1-week visit in Norway to settle new cooperation. So we have every year 12 researchers coming from France to visit their counterparts in Norway to identify possible collaboration. We also have what we call Programme Ubercurien Aurora, so where we try to finance mobilities in the framework of a research project. And in this Programme Ubercurien, one of the goals is of sending a young researcher in the exchange, so it can be interesting for you. And the Research Council for the first year for this year have a call that's dedicated to international partnership. That was mostly with the with no country in Europe. And for the first time this year, we have a call that was also open for French and German researcher. So just you will find just with these three websites, you will have all the information you will need to find to have an idea of what you can do in Norway in research. And so the last point, the tag for IDAG, that would be mostly all the Norwegian I can say. And the difference will be Czech Republic, and this in Norway you can survive and even live many years without speaking any Norwegian, because everybody can speak in English, even if you go shopping. And as I was mentioning to my colleagues, even sometimes I've been to a restaurant with a Norwegian friend, and we try to order in Norwegian, and the waiter says, sorry, I don't understand Norwegian. So you can really survive without not speaking Norwegian. So tag for IDAG is, thank you very much for your attention.
Okay, now it's your turn to ask questions. Who starts? Come on, at least one question for our speakers, please.
Just, ça marche? Ça marche? Oui, c'est bon. Just one question, because as you can see, we've made a presentation from French. No, before. We've made the presentation from the French embassy, and I know that many people here are also from Germany, and there are people from the AD and the DFKZ from Heidelberg. But what is really for our ministry here in France, what is really interesting also to develop is more interaction between all this network that we represent today. We are three consular or scientific attachés in different embassies. And how this network, which is at the bilateral level, how this network can interact together. And we mentioned some specific program of cooperation, Programme Ubercurien. And I'm sure it might be interesting to have to extend this program to other countries, and not only working with countries where we live. So I think it might be just to see how together we can work together, and to offer this kind of opportunity for researchers to not only to apply for a bilateral project, but also a regional project or European project.
So I will ask you one question. So you presented research landscape in your own country, but can you maybe summarize or put a specific focus on why it can be attractive for young researchers to come in your country to do research as a PhD, as a postdoc, with a permanent position? Why is it attractive to come to your country?
As I said in my presentation, there's in Germany there's a really important subject is attractivity, and to try to attract the best, the talented young scientists. And as we can see, we do have a lot of scientists, French scientists in Germany. For example, many of you probably know Emmanuel Charpentier, who works in Max Planck Institute in Berlin. We have also Bénédicte Savoy, all these famous scientists which have been attracted by the German research and development system. And I think it's really important to have that. But I know if there is someone from the DAAD, I'm sure that there's in the DAAD there are specific programs to attract these talented researchers at different level. It might be really young researcher, but also a senior researcher. So the program has the Germany has many programs to do it. Yeah.
Maybe just to add, what may Norway may be unique is its position, as I mentioned. If you want to do research in Arctics, and yeah, you can, you have the field there. So that could be interesting, and also, as mentioned, the strong involvement of research of Norway in research, it make that things are very easy if you want to come to work there. They need international cooperation to put their research at a high level. So that's what makes Norway attractive.
And for me, I'll answer by a question: how many of you are looking for a job or will look for a job in the near future? Okay. Among you, how many of you have difficulty to find a job now, or we believe that they might have a difficulty to find a job? Well, that's my answer. Basically, we know at this moment it is not so easy to find a job in research in France, and we believe that there is an opportunity to at least start your career. What Czech Republic can offer, what they can offer, what they cannot offer. What they can offer is really interesting opportunity. You can have your own research team at 30 years old, and you can wait a longer time in France to have your own research team. So even as a junior, you can get your own research team and do whatever research you want to do and have your own team. What they will not offer is fantastic wages. The wages are still low. The cost of life also is low, so you won't get rich. You just make good research and you'll have excellent opportunities.
Wait for the micro, please.
Thank you for your presentation. My name is Viviane Boussou, and I have a PhD in economic, but social and human science. And when you have done your presentation, I didn't see any opportunity for this science we call soft science. It's only hard science. So I am afraid that I don't think I can find a job maybe in these 3 countries in my area. What do you think about that? Thank you.
I think humanities, because it's your field. Yeah, I think it's really an important field. As I didn't mention it, but it was in my slide. When we, for example, when there are some support for science, it's not only science, technical science, but it's also humanities. And I think it's more and more something that is the transdisciplinary research that is taking place. And I think in many projects we are more looking for a project, not a discipline, not a science, but trying to have on the same platform all the researchers working together on a specific project. And as you may know, and President Macron during his speech at La Sorbonne said that for the relationship between France and Germany, we have to think and to put in place something really strong in terms of research, development, innovation. And it was more the idea to create something that is disruptive, to go to disruptive technologies. And if you think of disruptive technology, it's for example a new technology for tomorrow, not tomorrow, but probably in the long term, but you have to think of what the people will need at this time, and you need to have humanities and these people. And for Germany, if you look at Germany, humanities is really an important subject. We do have with Germany a lot of organization. We have, for example, the Centre Marc Bloch, which is in Berlin and working only on humanities. And you have this really famous center. And there's some fundings from the researcher coming from CNRS and funding coming from BMBF. So this is really something important for the relationship with Germany. And there's specific fundings, as I mentioned in my presentation. There is a call for project between INR and DFG, which is specific on humanities. And the next call will be in December this year. So if it's for a team, but there are many young researchers involved in this team. So this is really to me this is really an important subject, and we have to work more and more with different researchers coming from different areas, and humanities is really key.
Yeah, the same for Norway. As I mentioned in my introduction, there is a model of the Norwegian society and the way of life, and so all humanities has a very strong point of that. I mentioned about the question about equality and gender issue. That's a very important point in the Norwegian society, but it means that it's also an important point of their research. And I was mentioning also my 2 programs, and every year we have French researchers coming to Norway to see what is happening there in these kind of topics, for example. So maybe I didn't put the point on that of my presentation, but it's. I was mentioning that Norway was attracting a researcher on some field because they are still weak in some aspects. But in these kind of topics, they are well in advance compared to other countries.
And my answer will be more or less the same. Why don't we speak about social and human sciences in our presentation? It's just because we want to impress you with big figures and big investment figures. And as you know, the investment in hard science is way more expensive. So that's the only reason why we don't speak about it. But of course, there's a lot of research in social and human sciences. In Czech Republic, there are some specific institute of the Academy of Science, so the equivalent of CNRS, dealing with social sciences for one and economics for the other one. 3 really good universities for economics. Of course, Charles University, the Economic Center, is really a top European level. Masaryk University in Brno also, and there is a specific economic university in Prague dealing with that. There is also, just like in Germany, there is a research center, actually a French-Czech research center based in Prague with CNRS staff, and they are focused only on social and human sciences. And in the country, you're in a country with a long tradition in history, sociology, or philosophy, but what is really developing now is legal and economical studies, basically. So yeah, we didn't speak about it, and I realized that it's always the bias that we have, showing off with the big figures. But you need to know that, and I guess it's going to be the same in all the other countries. When you invest in research, there's always also an investment in social and human sciences.
Good morning. Okay. Good morning. My name is Alejandro. Hello? Yes? Yep. Okay. So my name is Alejandro. I'm a PhD student in civil engineer. And I'm not a European citizen. So I'm asking myself if I will face some difficulties to look for a job in research in your country, which will be the biggest difficulties that I will face against from some European citizens that will have maybe some advantages against me. I don't know if it's well pose my question or.
Est-ce qu'il va être plus compliqué pour lui parce qu'il n'est pas citoyen européen?
Okay, so we'll all have different answers, but of course you will have more difficulty than the European citizens, because basically for European citizens there is no difficulty at all. So you will have more. In Czech Republic, actually, they are looking for people to hire, so they set up some specific centers to welcome the foreigners. In Brno, for instance, there's one which is very active. And they will help you with all the administrative hassle you might have. I used to live 20 years ago in the country, and I came back after 20 years, and it's quite amazing the way that the administrative hassle has been reduced. Okay, maybe 20 years ago they came out of communisms, but now to get the papers you need to live in the country, so the visa and the social security, it takes around half an hour, and they all speak English. And it was really amazing to me, actually, that it was so simple. So, yeah, it will be more difficult for you than for European citizens, but still, it's quite simple.
And I think for Germany, there are some colleagues from the AD, and I think they will give you really a precise answer about that. But I'm sure Germany is looking forward to welcoming young, talented researchers. So, and as I said before, they are what we have achieved for French people. But I think it's important for European or researcher at large. We do have listed, and I'm sure the AD has also this list of all the funding they can provide to attract scientists. But it's not only European, I think. But is there someone from the AD in the room? Okay. So I don't know if you have more precise answer to this question. So you will be there today, right? Oh, you will talk afternoon. So I think, yeah.
Thank you for the question. I will present our funding schemes this afternoon, I think at 3 p.m. So I will talk about that. And we don't care about the nationality. For us, it's important in which country you live in. So you can apply from the country in which you live in. So if you live in France, you can apply from here, and we don't make any difference about the nationality.
Just for now, I think the answer will be the same as well. The unemployment, the rate of unemployment is very low in our country. If you have the good skill, there will be no any problem to get a job in Norway for that.
I just want to add one information. Don't forget Euraccess. Euraccess can help you also with all the mobility administrative stuff, especially for work permits and so on. And you will have a presentation tomorrow on Euraccess services. So if you are not from a European citizenship, you can really have the support of Euraccess on such topics.
Yeah, and if I may, just a message for those who are interested in postdoc positions, whatever the discipline, including SSH, will be in the afternoon session about Marie Skłodowska-Curie actions. And they're open to all disciplines, and we'll be talking about postdoc opportunities.
Thank you. Hello. My name is Kantanatov Olesya. I'm from the Republic of Moldova. Okay. Should I? Okay. I'm from Republic of Moldova. I'm PhD student, first year. from Academy of Science of Republic of Moldova. I am a bit interested in machine learning. In our country, we don't have, at least I don't know, if there are specialization in this domain. In this paper, I saw that in Czech Republic, incorporation, Space Now, that work with machine learning engineer. I'm not sure if you have necessary information, but my question is, does in your country have university that can provide specialization in this domain?
Sorry, what domain again?
Machine learning. I know it's a new domain. It's a subdomain of artificial intelligence, and it's a bit interested. In our country, I can say this, I'm enthusiast in machine learning, so I'm a bit interested in this field. Another question is, if I get an internship in a country, can I take my family there also? I mean, I have a kid, and I can't let her. She has 3 years old. So the first question is if university provides specialization in machine learning, and the second, if I can bring my family with me. Thank you very much.
So I think for the first question, we might all have the same answer. Yes, machine learning is a new field, so a lot of people invest in that. At least in Czech Republic, there's one specific center that just opened, which is something that tried to make the link between artificial intelligence and robotics, for instance. So machine learning is quite a big part of this. It's called cirque, like a circus, but it's not. And it's the new research center of the Technological University of Prague. So I would go there for first choice, because once again, it's a new research center, so they invested a lot, and now they're looking for researchers to work there. Regarding your second question, can you bring your family in? I'm not really aware of all the legal aspects of bringing in your family, but if it's your children, of course you can. Will you be paid enough to cover for it? That's a different question. To be clear, according to the people I interviewed, if they're working in research, if it's, for instance, a couple with a child, at least the two people need to work. Because if you have only one salary, with the wages in research in Czech Republic, especially in Prague, in which the housing costs are still higher than elsewhere in the country, it will be difficult. So you can bring your family, but you won't be paid enough to cover for all their expenses. So if it's only one child, of course it's okay, but if it's bigger, then the other people need to work.
Just a quick answer for Germany. I mean, in this field, artificial intelligence and machine learning, there are many universities. So it's really difficult to say which one. And there are also many research organizations, as I presented, which are linked with this and involved in this theme. So I mean, we can. If you have a specific interest for Germany, we can help you to identify 2 of them or 3 of them. But really, it's really more our colleague from the AD, which might be helpful in this field. Yeah. And also for the second question, I mean, if you can come with your family, our colleague for the AD, I'm sure do have specific program, but it's not exactly our mission at the embassy to respond to this kind of question. It's more for you at the AD. And where are you located at the AD? Here in Paris?
We have an office here in Paris, in the Sorbonne University, Maison de la Recherche. It's like next to Saint-Michel, so it's really in the center of Paris. And I have an information stand over there, so you can just come along, and we have a lot of information about the different possibilities of grants and how to prepare your research stay in Germany. And there is one website or two. There is one website called researchingermany.com or org, where you can find all the practical information too about your research stay in Germany. And another one that is called Research Explorer, where you can just research all the disciplines and the different institutes that propose research in your, you can just come along.
Hello, my name is Wei Rang. I'm a PhD student, third year in France. My question is about personal life. You talk about the research in your country, but you talk about the language. You say if I get a position, for example, in Czech Republic and in Germany, and you told us that language, your local native language is very important. So, I mean, when I work there, I speak English. Okay, it's okay, but I can't speak German or Czech language. Of course, for Norway, you told us that English is enough, but for Germany and Czech, the native language is very important. So you told us it's difficult for us if we can't speak the native language. I just want to know how difficult if we can't speak German or Czech language, because you see this is a course that we must think about. You see, we work, okay, and we live. So if we can't speak a native language, we will suffer to live there. So I just want to know how difficult, because I should think about it. How difficult? I work at daytime and I study native language at night. So how? Maybe specifically, how long do you think if I learn the native language hardly how long I can grasp the basic communicating skills in the native language? This is my question. Thank you.
Well, there was this presentation this morning of Dave Kazed, for example, and I think what is really important for research organization in Germany is that the work usually is in English. So the people, the researchers are working usually in English because they produce publication in English. But I think it was, I think it's really important also to speak German, because you will live in Germany and you will interact with German people, and sometimes, and some meetings sometimes are in German, but I'm not sure in the research organization. But we didn't mention the innovation part, the startups, for example. If you look in Berlin, there are many startups and many young people working in these startups. It's more digital startups, and these people are all speaking English. That's for sure. In this world, English is really the language, because they are coming from all over Europe, probably all over the world, and they are working in English. But I'm sure in universities and research organizations, usually the people do speak English and use English as a language for their work. But if you have more information about the statistics, but I'm sure in this field English is. But if you are in Paris already, you work here in Paris. In Lille, okay. Okay, so I'm sure that if you have a position in Germany, important is to get some course of German, yeah. And how is it difficult to speak German? I cannot answer, but I think it's easier for Germany, but I will let my colleague answer the question.
Well, I guess Czech is somewhere in between German and Norwegian in difficulty. First of all, same answer for your job. You don't need to speak Czech. All the job offers I mentioned are job offers for which you only need English. Now, for your daily life, of course, young people, they all speak English. In Prague, Prague is a 1 million inhabitant city with a 1 million tourists every year. So you can live in the city without speaking Czech, because most of the tourists don't speak Czech either. And Brno is very young and university city, so and all the young people speak English. What we both say is that if you live in a country, it's good to learn a little bit of the language for the day-to-day life, not for your job, but for your day-to-day life. And for Czech, it very much depends. People say it's between 2 years and 5 years, and it very much depends on whether you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend local. That's the main thing. Or if you really drink a lot of beer.
So we need to stop the session here, I'm sorry, but you will have the occasion to use a networking lunch to ask your additional questions to our speakers, who I would like to thank you very, very much for coming to us for this event. Thank you very much for your presentation and your talk. And I would say the lunch is now open, so you can go on the other side of the room, have a lunch, and we start here at 1:45, okay, in 1 hour, basically. See you later.